were having a great time, and so were Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper, who were firmly entrenched in the Class N2 lead in the team total Toyota Corolla. The Sasol Rally was party time for some of the locals, but Class A7 frontrunners Keith Coleman and Uwe Koch were treating matters a little more seriously. There was a festive atmosphere and popular spectator points, and there was never a shortage of action. Cast in a catch-up role after their early event problems were Kuba Struss and Neil Faree, who were pushing hard in the SALive.com Toyota Corolla, with the pair having plenty of ground to make up. Team total pair Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper are the reigning Class N2 champions, and although pushing for a top 10 place, were more interested in retaining their advantage in Class N2.
We don't want to go crazy over the rough and that type of thing with the lead that we've got in our class, you know. And obviously Cobus is the closest to us in the championship, so we need to keep ahead of him. He's our main person at the moment that we're looking at in the points, you know.
For reigning Class N1 champions Rodney Pasaki and Carolyn Swan, the Sasol Rally got off to a slightly upside-down start, and they were also playing catch-up.
In the first stage, I think it was about the third corner, we rolled it, we just clipped the inside and put it over. We've lost about 2 minutes now, and it's just playing catch-up now, we've got to go for it.
Into the night stages on day one of the Sasol Rally in Mpumalanga, and once again the town stage in the centre of Sabi drew rally enthusiasts like bees to the honeypot. South African rallying has a policy of taking rallying to the people, and the Sabi stage, along with those in White River and Nelspruit, are major draw cards for the sport. With the crowds lining the pavements 4 and 5 deep, the atmosphere was festive, with a great time had by all as they enjoyed some spectacular rallying. Going into the night stages, Sasol VW golf pair Jan Habak and Doug Judd had a lead of just under a minute. Second at this stage were the dealer team Toyota Corolla crew of Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson. But most of the interest had shifted to the battle for third place. Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley in the team total Toyota Corolla were only 7 seconds behind Sasol VW crew Chart van der Walt and Cindy Harding. Lawrence and Paisley were only 10 seconds ahead of Hergen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz, with Paolo Piazzamuso and Nick Hatton closing in on the Toyota Cruise. The ubiquitous Hannes Quabler and Brian Duncan had a tight hold on Class N3 in the team total Bridgestone Nissan Sentra. The pair also led the Group N category overall, but here they were under a little pressure from Class N2 leaders Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper, who'd lost a little time with a gentle overshoot on the Sabi town stage. A wake-up call for some spectators, and Saunders and Hooper were soon underway again. While the team total crew was sitting pretty at the top of Class N2, matters weren't going too well for Johnny Gamble and Errol Finnis in a Nissan Sentra, with the pair having gradually dropped down the field. Overnight results saw Habak and Judd leading from Lawrence and Paisley, and the big news, the demise of Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson, who went off the road on special stage 10 and were out of the rally.
How distressed I am about the accident yesterday. You know, one always thinks, well, this is a dangerous sport, but I never really would have expected this to happen, and I really hope the guys, you know, can come out of it okay. But besides that, I'm very pleased with the way the rally has gone so far in terms of the organization. And of course, I'm very pleased that this year, I haven't counted the people, but it looks like we've got a record crowd this year.
On the Day 2 menu were 11 special stages in the Nelspruit, Sabi, Hazy View and White River areas, and again, there was a mix of tar and gravel stages.
We'll just adopt our normal strategy, keep the concentration levels as high as possible, and make sure that we don't make any mistakes, because now this is the difficult part, is not to make mistakes. The pressure's a little bit off because Serge made a small mistake last night. So from that point of view, it's a little bit easier, but I think the concentration issue, that's on the forefront today.
Day 2 got underway in Nelspruit with a super special stage in front of another huge crowd. Up against each other on a mirror image course were rally leaders Jan Habak and Doug Judd and the Piazzamuso Hatton Ford Escort.
Right, okay, keep right and left right, very tight, right, left, right.
A slight hiccup for Piazzamuso and Hatton here, the Ford Escort momentarily taking on the role of a bulldozer. And the boot lid came loose on the Havoc Judd VW Golf, but they cruised to a comfortable win over the Ford Escort, with Piazzamuso and Haddon gearing up for a fight with Chad van der Walt and Cindy Harding.
Last night we made a plan, we've made another bracket and which will keep the belt more secure. And I think we'll pick up with the refs a bit today. We were about 600 refs down yesterday just to make sure that the belt will stay on, but it looks fine. So we need, if you look at the situation with the positions from 3rd to 5th, I mean, there's only a few seconds in it, so we'll have to chase hard today.
The Van der Walt-Harding combination has struggled this season with the recurring problem that sees the fan belt on the Sasol VW Golf come adrift of its mountings. With the problem hopefully sorted out, Van der Walt and Harding were paired on the Super Special with Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley in the Team Total Toyota Corolla. A little turning circle problem cost Van der Walt and Harding time on the Super Special, and it was Lawrence and Paisley who were making up time on the Sasol VW crew. Lawrence and Paisley were 4 seconds quicker through the special stage than Van der Walt and Harding, who posted the same time as Paolo Piazzamuso and Nick Haddon. Waiting to get his day started was overnight Group N leader Hannes Schwabler.
The guys are going very well, especially Dean Sanders, and I think we've got a dice in our hands today. So I hope we can keep the thing together, whatever, and give something for the spectators.
An interesting Super Special matchup saw Group N and Class N3 leaders Hannes Schwabler and Brian Duncan up against Class N2 leaders Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper. Hannes Schwabler is one of the great all-rounders in South African motorsport and has won national titles in rallying, off-road racing and on the track. You don't buy that sort of experience over the counter, and the Schwabler-Duncan combination eased the pressure a little by winning the Super Special battle between the two crews. Back on dirt and back with the rally leaders. Jan Havoc and Doug Judd were in control of proceedings after the demise of Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson, but lapses in concentration like this were to be avoided.
Keep right.
Havoc and Judd needed only to stay on the road to make sure of winning the Sasol Rally. They had a handy lead over Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley, who are now second in the Team Total Toyota Corolla. Holding station would see the KwaZulu-Natal pair move to the top of the drivers and co-drivers overall championship. They had a cushion on the battle going on for 3rd place, and Lawrence was hard at work in a cramped and very noisy office. Behind the two frontrunners, a big battle was going on between 3 crews. Talented Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz missed the Total Rally of South Africa because of financial restraints, but were in the thick of the fight for 3rd place. The Toyota Corolla crew were having a terrific run and were locked in battle with the Class A8 Sasol VW Golf of Chad van der Walt and Cindy Harding. The reigning Class A7 champions were having their best outing of the season, and it came at an opportune time. The 3rd crew involved in the scrap for 3rd were Piazzamuso and Haddon in the Ford Escort. For the Ford crew, it was also an opportune time to produce a return to top form. Also having their best outing of the season were Team Total crew Jean-Pierre Damso and Johan Klaassen, but they were destined to pick up their 4th non-finish of the year. There was also disappointment for Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz. They lost a wheel, and that effectively put them out of the running and reduced the battle for 3rd to a straight one between Van der Walt and Harding and Piazzamuso and Haddon.
Yeah, he went off on a hairpin, and we just changed the load control arm and the caster rod. And that's it. So he's on his way again.
There was also a good battle going on in Class A7. Tony Ball and Marty Olivier were leading the class in the Bulwer Park VW Golf. And then clutch problems scuppered their hopes and gave the class win to the consistent Christo Ackermann and Andre Pfeiffer in the Sasol VW Golf. KwaZulu-Natal crew Ken Westermeyer and Gerrit Bezuidenhout picked up a place in the VW Playa when Ball and Olivier dropped out. Eastern Cape driver Adrian Karth and Alan Carter also picked up a place in the Class A7 battle and were involved in a good scrap with the Nissan Sentra of Johnny Gemmell and Errol Finnis. After problems earlier in the event, Gemmell and Finnis were making a late charge. The 3rd place Ford versus Volkswagen battle was still raging, but there were problems for Paolo Piazzamuso and Nick Haddon. The privateer crew were running short of tyres, but a terrific act of sportsmanship saw Volkswagen come to the rescue.
We're short of rubber, so thank you to Volkswagen.
we went into the lion's den and they helped us out with 2 tyres, so I think that might make the difference for this last leg.
VW driver Chart van der Walt mirrored the spirit in which the duel was being fought.
It's actually no biting. I mean, between me and Paulo, there's 14 seconds, and I mean, it can go to either side. It just depends what happens in the next few stages. So, yeah, so it's maximum attack.
Apart from lying second overall, Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley were also leading Class A6. The demise of Damso and Hodgson and problems for Fecken and Lukowitz elevated the Toyota Conquest of Chris DeWitt and Shane Saville to second in class, and they were followed by Craig Trott and Gerrit Bezuidenhout in another Toyota Conquest. That gave KwaZulu-Natal crews a clean sweep of Class A6. The final special stage in Nelspruit, with Jan Habik and Doug Judd putting the finishing touches to their 3rd win of the season.
Right, tight. Down to the bottom. Hip and left around the island.
Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley also wrapped up 2nd place in the Class A6 win, but there was more drama in the battle for 3rd. Paolo Biazamuzo and Nick Haddon went into the final stage, leading Chart van der Walt and Sidney Harding by just 4 seconds. The Ford Escort crew made a bit of a hash of matters and dropped the 4 seconds they had in hand. This saw the crews finish in a tie, with Biazamuzo and Haddon taking 3rd on a countout. There was no doubt when it came to the winners of the Sasol Rally, with Jan Habik and Doug Judd getting their act back together after a non-finish in the Total Tour of South Africa. There was also a little poetic justice in the Sasol VW crew, giving their sponsors a win on their own event. To the victors go the spoils, and over the last couple of seasons, Habik and Judd have developed a taste for the champagne. The win also put Habik and Judd into 2nd place in the overall championship, behind Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley.
To consolidate the rest of the championship, I think it was absolutely critical for us to get maximum points, and I think we're very happy with the result, and the team worked well, the car went well, the organisation was very good on the event, a tremendous amount of spectators, and I think generally we're very satisfied with the happenings this weekend.
Happy birthday, dear Brian. Happy birthday to
Birthday boy Brian Duncan and Hannes Grobler won the Group N category and Class N3.
I think it was a great event. It's always a nice event. It's always nice to come here in the Nelspruit Sabi area. I think it's one of the best organised rallies around in the country, and we've enjoyed it again, and I think it was good for us. If you look at our 5th place overall and our Group N win.
A 3rd overall win for Jan Habik and Doug Judd, and a tremendous result for new championship leaders Lawrence and Paisley. 5th overall was also a terrific performance from Grobler and Duncan.